Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Let us talk about Monday Night Raw, but first, a programming note. We're actually going to have a very special live WrestleMania prediction show on Thursday. So I'm going to save my WrestleMania predictions, probably also my Stand and Deliver predictions too, but maybe I'll do Stand and Deliver actually with NXT. Let's not go too far. Let's just stick to the program. We'll do WrestleMania predictions, okay? So, on Thursday. So, let's talk about first news and notes. The first note, Stacy Keibler is announced for the WWE Hall of Fame. And for the first time in a long time, I'm going to say this person completely and totally does not deserve it. I cannot remember a single Stacy Keibler moment that doesn't involve her getting beat up. That was pretty much it. Wasn't she Randy Orton's girlfriend when he snapped and hit her with an RKO? Wasn't that her? It wasn't Tori Wilson, was it? And for me, that's always been the issue. Is I get Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler caught up all the time. I know that some people will say, well, how could that be? They're two completely different people. I'm like, man, look, they're both useless. And neither one of them was an important part of the show when I was watching. Then I took those couple of years off. And I saw that they were managers, but I didn't see them actually do anything. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell did she do to be worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. Look, I can stretch that Hall of Fame thing pretty far. You know, there's a good case to be made for Rikishi. There's a case to make for Coco Beware. You know, Rikishi had a long tenure in WWE from 1992 to like 2010 or something like that. You had Coco Beware, who's a big star in Memphis and a big star in the Territory era. And maybe he's not a big deal in the WWF, but he did some stuff in the Territories. But Stacy Keibler, what did she do exactly? What is her resume? She didn't wrestle any matches, not for real. Not any serious wrestling matches. She was, I guess, a manager, but she wasn't like cutting great promos. She took nice pictures. Like, that was kind of it. She took great pictures. I'm sorry. I was far more charitable about the Stacy Keibler thing when it was just an idea that was being pitched. When it actually came out, I was like, I don't know about this one. I know that a lot of you Ruthless Aggression era fans, you WCW guys, you're like, oh, come on, man. Stacy Keibler is so good. I'm just sitting there like, at doing what exactly? What did she do? Point me to a promo that she cut, a match that she wrestled. What did she do? She didn't do anything. When you talk about women, especially in that era, who went into the Hall of Fame, at the very least, they did stuff. Sunny did stuff. Luna, Chyna did stuff. Sherry did stuff. Tori Wilson even, got in the ring. She did some stuff. Stacy Keibler didn't do, I guess, the testicle stuff. Is that what we're giving her Hall of Fame for? Because she did the Andrew Test Martin testicle storyline with Scott Steiner? No, it was no good. It wasn't good. So I don't understand her being in the Hall of Fame. And now that the Hall of Fame has been announced, there's only 4 people. Of the 4, 3 are deserving. Andy Kaufman, Rey Mysterio, and the Great Muta. They're deserving. But I would like for them to introduce more people. And, the legacy class and all that kind of stuff. We need all that. Because you can't just... plus, I did like the Hall of Fame as its own specific event. I know that they probably just decided to do the whole SmackDown thing, so I don't have to sell another venue. But to me, that's just lazy, and it does a disrespect to the Hall of Fame. Do a separate venue. If you just have to have the award show. Look, you already have NXT before WrestleMania Night 1. You could have the Hall of Fame inductions before WrestleMania Night 2. That way you can create more product for Peacock. Sure, you'll have to probably get a small venue or something like that so people can buy tickets. But I would imagine the Hall of Fame losing its television night is 100% to do with WrestleMania now being expanded to 2 nights. But I don't like this idea. despite the fact that everybody, with the exception of Stacy Keibler, that has been announced, is worthy of being in the Hall of Fame, it still feels weak. It still feels light. It don't feel like a true celebration of WWE history or of even the performers. I mean, Andy Kaufman has been dead for over 30 years. So who the hell is going to speak on his behalf? That's what I want to know. But that's the most interesting one. We see Ray every week. As much as I love Rey Mysterio, I see him every week. The Great Muta, I love him too, but English, so English second language, so it's like, we're missing something. There is some spice definitely missing for the Hall of Fame this year. And, there's somebody who truly deserves it, who probably somebody thought never would make it, like the Honky Tonk Man or, Steiner Brothers or something like that. That's what we're missing, and I don't know. I don't really like the formulation of the Hall of Fame this year. I'm not really feeling it. It feels like an afterthought, I'm not really feeling it. All right, let's get into this show. Now, the Iron Rule of 3 count commentaries, Iron Rule number 4080. How many matches on the show? If it's more than 5, then you can pretty much tell the show is boring. Except this show had 7, and the show was still fairly solid. And it was still fairly solid because they filled it with small promos, which is exactly what you should do. It was built like an old episode of WWF Superstars, where there's matches, but then there's lots of small promos and vignettes and stuff like that. So that kept the show interesting. It kept the show fresh. Nothing lasted too long. They got on my nerves. But at the same time, it wasn't a super duper big sell for the go home show. It started the show with The Miz, Lita, Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch, and Damage Control. I'm going to shorten this up a little bit because they're talking about the Miz's balls and all that kind of stuff, and I don't understand that. Becky Lynch basically complained that Damage Control ruined 4 months of her life. She was injured for that time, and then she spent all that time plotting her revenge and how to get rid of Damage Control. Bayley interrupted. She said that Trish Stratus and Lita ain't been nothing in 20 years. Then she said that there was a time in her life where this would have been a dream match. She's wrestling 2 legends, 2 of her heroes, and the top female in WWE, and how Damage Control has something to prove. But now it's time to take them all out. Becky Lynch got on the microphone and then yelled at Bayley how she's been wasting everybody's time since SummerSlam, and how she took these 2 talented women and done nothing with them, and they're in the same exact place they were in before. And she says that she thought it was over many times. Basically said she thought it was over at War Games. She thought it was over in the Steel Cage match, but now it's got to end at WrestleMania. Pretty fiery promo for Becky Lynch at the end. Trish Stratus is very awkward in these promos now. I know a lot of people have been whispering about her turning heel, and they kind of giving it away, I think. She's not as excited as Lita is. She's kind of standoffish. It's a lot like when Alexa Bliss was announced for that War Games match, and she was kind of on the outs the whole time. And everybody kept talking about, oh man, Alexa Bliss about to turn. And I was like, yeah, they made it pretty obvious, didn't they? They made it pretty obvious. Now they kind of making it obvious that Trish Stratus might turn on her team at WrestleMania. Of course, they haven't had a good reason for it, but I actually mostly enjoy what Bayley's been doing on Twitter, and this is what should have been going on in the promos. Is Bayley has been posting pictures of like herself in like when she had her meltdown after her and Sasha lost the tag team titles at whatever WrestleMania that was. WrestleMania numbers eliminated, because I don't know. Since they got rid of the numbers, I can't remember what WrestleMania it is. I'm not even going to hold you up. But whatever WrestleMania it was, where Sasha Banks and Bayley got the numbers removed, they lost the tag team titles. They were sitting in the hallway pouting, and Trish Stratus came up to the hotel room and was talking to them. And Bayley basically posted a picture of her in the hallway with Trish Stratus and talking about, how Trish Stratus was there for her and all this kind of stuff. And in these conversations, she learns Trish's strengths and weaknesses. And she also posted a picture of herself and Lita, or no, it wasn't herself. It was a picture. It was of a letter she had wrote, like an essay she had wrote in like grade school about Lita, and talking about how she'd been watching Lita since she was a little girl, so she knows Lita's strengths and weaknesses, and of course stuff from her and Becky Lynch when they were in NXT. And I was like, wow, that's excellent. Like, it shows that Bayley as a character does her research on her opponents, or she has a personal connection with each one of these opponents. And it could have been a good story to tell on TV. Why they didn't go that route, I don't know. I don't know. They didn't even follow up on the whole Bayley saying that Becky isn't good enough for Seth Rollins. They didn't even follow up on that. It's just been nonstop chicanery. Straight up clown shit. This feud has been awful. It is awful. Awful, awful, awful. Despite the talent involved. Now, that said, they did have a match. Becky Lynch versus Io Sky. I did enjoy this. Io was showing out. They did, they didn't do the typical WWE, or the typical wrestling show, which is the person who's losing gets all of the offense. In fact, for a short amount of time in the beginning of the match, Becky Lynch was actually dominating. But they did do a pretty good match where Becky, had to shine. Then she got cut off. Io Sky took over. She did a lot of her aerial moves. So it was a solid match. And Becky Lynch wins with a manhandle slam. Clean as a whistle. Not mad at that. They showed a pair of vignettes. One for Asuka, running down her resume, as she was undefeated for over 900 days, while Bianca Belair has been champion for nearly one full calendar year. At WrestleMania, it will be a full year since she won the title. They also ran one for Bianca Belair later in the show, about how athletic she is and the EST and everything. And this is good. Like, the feud itself has been shit. It's been really bad. And it's been noticeably bad to the point where people have been complaining about it. So they decided to just, I guess, abandon turning Asuka heel and just said, fuck it. We're gonna show vignettes, which is what they probably should have did from the beginning. So they made Asuka look, tremendous. They, reminded everybody of Asuka's history. This is, Asuka's usually a champion going into WrestleMania or in a title match. I think that for most of her WrestleMania appearances, Asuka has either been a champion or a challenger. And that's, something that should be mentioned. Not just her 900 days, but she's a perennial contender. So that's a really good thing. And Bianca Belair, of course, is 2-0 at WrestleMania, having defeated 2 of the 4 horsewomen. Now she gets to, wrestle somebody who's not quite a 4 horsewoman, actually maybe on a tier, the same tier, maybe even a little bit higher on there with Asuka. So it ought to be interesting, but I'm glad they just abandoned that weak ass heel turn. It was awful. Maybe they'll do something on SmackDown, but that heel turn was awful. And they decided to just, we don't like that. We're just going to try to erase it from everybody's memory. But as long as Asuka ain't out there giggling and spitting up goo, we're doing better. Okay. Seth Rollins is backstage. He gets cut off by Mustafa Ali, who's doing a positive Ali gimmick, who says that Seth Rollins needs to be more positive, and says that now Logan Paul actually knows who he is. He didn't know who he was until, I think, Royal Rumble or whatever. Now he's got his attention. Now all of these fans know who he is. So Seth Rollins reminded everybody when he was the United States champion and he was, offered to give Mustafa Ali a match, but he never actually did it. So then they decided to have the match tonight. I was like, oh my God. So Mustafa Ali versus Seth Rollins. That was the second match. Rollins wins the match, of course. The story of the match is Ali is in the ring telling Seth Rollins that he's not thinking. He has to think as he dodges Seth Rollins' attacks and stuff like that. Which would have been fine. It showed that Seth was very frustrated and off his game. That would have been that wouldn't have been a bad story to tell. You need more time to tell it, but it wouldn't have been that bad. That Tree of Woe stomp that Mustafa Ali took was fantastic, and I wish the first time I saw it was at WrestleMania and not on a random Raw. Well, it's not even really a random Raw. It's a go-home show. But I really kind of wish he had done that Tree of Woe stomp at WrestleMania and not did it here. The crowd absolutely loved Seth Rollins. They were singing his song all night. Seth Rollins got on a promo. It says that he's been making a joke of Logan Paul, but Logan Paul's been making a joke of him. And if he can't beat Logan Paul, then Logan Paul ain't the joke. He is. And I thought he was going to do something drastically, put his career on the line, but no. He just basically said that he's got to beat Logan Paul, and he will beat him. I'm like, sure. Thanks for coming, Seth. Good job. Super over. Great job. Thank you very much. Baron Corbin is bitching about not having a WrestleMania match. Praise God. Then Chelsea Green interrupted. She's bitching about not having a WrestleMania match. She wants to be in the showcase. She slipped in the term mansplaining to Adam Pearce. I'm not going to get triggered over because I know it's said to get heat. The purpose of Chelsea Green's character is to be a whiner and a complainer and to get heat. She was then backed up by Sonya Deville. Uh-oh. Better watch yourself. You know, she packing that heat. Anyway, Sonya Deville said she was better at this job than Adam Pearce ever was. So Adam Pearce made them a team because apparently the gimmick was that Chelsea Green is going to have different partners until she finds the right partner to get into this match. And she actually found the right one. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville defeat Michin and Candice LeRae in one of the most boring, useless matches probably ever participated in by either woman. And it was quiet as a funeral in that joint. None of these girls are over because all of them are treated like jobbers. It's unfortunate, but Chelsea Green is actually in the match. So, yeah. Chelsea Green got what she wanted. And Sonya Deville's going to get a WrestleMania paycheck. That's great. I'm glad Sonya, she can buy more guns. They're probably going to take that. The state of New Jersey is probably going to take that gun. Just get another one, baby. Get another one. Buy more. Buy 2. Buy 3. Why don't you? Buy 4. Buy more. All right. So then we got the weigh-in. Omos, Brock Lesnar. MVP gets on the microphone, says that he respects Brock. That Brock's previous WrestleMania experiences, he's imposed his will onto others. But this is the giant Omos. You can't suplex him. You can't F5 him. You're not going to win. He says Brock might be a bad man, but he's not badder than this man. Brock gets into the ring, immediately attacks Omos. Just immediately. Just bounced off of him a couple of times. It did something, you know, Omos ducked. Oh, no, he didn't duck. He threw a punch. Brock ducked. Brock came off the ropes again with like a body, trying to knock him down with his shoulder. He ended up knocking him into the corner. Brock grabbed the scale. He was trying to hit him with the scale. Omos booted Brock in the face. Brock drops the scale. Omos scoops up the scale and Brock actually flees. He rolls out of the ring pretty quickly. But Brock, man, I'm telling you, he got that explosiveness that he just takes off running. It's like, you know, a tiger or something like that. It's like watching like National Geographic and you see like a lion's just kind of in the high grass. It's like laying there. And then out of nowhere it just bursts into like, you know, like speed. And you're like, oh shit. Like that's scary. Like something goes from being completely and totally lazy to just being, you know, vicious. It's like, that's crazy. But they were still trying to put over Omos. But they would have done a better job of putting over Omos if they had not changed his fucking theme song. Omos had an actually good, catchy theme song that they got rid of and replaced it with something so much worse. It is not only a bad theme song, it is generic as it is awful. The moment I heard it, I was like, right before WrestleMania, 6 days before WrestleMania, you changed Omos' theme song. For what? For what? Really? You can't tell me that there was some kind of license on that song that expired 6 days before WrestleMania and you couldn't just let it run. I'm not saying change the theme song at all, but why? Literally WrestleMania week. Most people who didn't even like Omos liked his theme song at the very least. This, man, they shooting them shows in the foot. I'm telling you, it's very, very hard to get into this program where you just don't know randomly who the fuck is coming out and what anything is going to sound like. The music plays a big part into the company and into the business. Not as big as everybody would think, you know, like it's absolutely imperative to have a certain theme song in order for you to get over. I'm not saying that, but the song needs to be consistent. When you consistently changing the theme, people don't know what the hell's going on. So, and then also these themes sound so generic and muted and there's no lyrics. It's just like random guitar riffs and just random drums or whatever. It's like, this is dumb. This is weak. It's weak sauce, man. They need to get somebody to make some damn theme songs. You know, I don't know why they decided, look, just because you ain't got Mike Johnson anymore, doesn't mean we had to go with the most generic theme songs ever. And I can't believe they changed on my theme song. It's the shits. They handicapping this kid, man. It's so unfortunate. You know, they're trying to make him look like shit. All right. They did a Charlotte Flair vignette, which was nice. Rhea Ripley cut a promo saying that there's no denying Charlotte's legacy, and she's tired of hearing about how many times Charlotte has been world champion. And that is Charlotte's legacy versus her destiny. And she needs Charlotte's title to be the best. And that Charlotte's legacy will not stop her destiny, which is like the 5th or 6th different promo Rhea Ripley has cut on this subject. None of these promos have clicked. You know, like none of them have clicked. This is a feud about nothing. This is a feud because Rhea Ripley won the Royal Rumble and we got to have a match. Instead of making it about 3 years ago, you know, which is what I thought they were going to do, which is, you know, the purpose of this. You know, focus on what happened 3 years ago. Show clips of, you know, mistakes Rhea Ripley made or her being overconfident or whatever the case may be, her being naive or whatever the weakness is that made her lose. That would have been a good thing to do. Is you're going to build your storyline based off the history. That's fine. But, you know, create a history. You know, there's plenty of evidence that, you know, these two were destined to do it again. You know, there was Charlotte after they filmed the match at WrestleMania 36. I know that sounds weird to say, where she was talking into, you know, it was like a live mic, and she was, you know, praising Rhea Ripley and telling her that, you know, how good she was. Like, that would have been a great thing to put into a video package or to play on the screen or whatever. Or various interviews where, you know, Charlotte is talking about how Rhea is, you know, next up, or Rhea could be the next one, or whatever the case may be. Or, you know, Rhea saying that she got away from me this one time because of this mistake, or whatever the case, and builds upon that. But this has been, they just been bouncing back and forth off of everything, and it's just been goofy, you know. These women's feuds have been the worst built things on the entire program, you know. And he was talking about these joints main eventing. Like, you got to be kidding me. Ain't no way. The Street Profits, Braun Strowman and Ricochet defeated the Viking Raiders and Alpha Academy. It was actually a fun match, despite the fact that it was completely and totally useless. The crowd was very into it for the Street Profits and for Ricochet and Braun Strowman. Loved those guys. The crowd was really into those guys. The Viking Raiders, no reaction. Alpha Academy, kind of fun, but only really Otis got a reaction. Maxine Dupree, she was watching Otis and getting very excited. She was getting all hot and bothered at the sight of Otis. But she was upset that Alpha Academy lost. One of the Street Profits is the one. I mean, one of the Street Profits got the pin on one of the Viking Raiders. I actually enjoyed the opening of the match. Then it kind of went too long, but I'll give it a fun match. Thumbs up. Finn Balor cut a promo, straight up short promo in the, not quite in the dark, but kind of in the dark, where he says there's nothing more dangerous than a caged demon, and that he doesn't summon his demons. They're already there. You just have to look closely. So they've officially started promoting the Demon as an opponent for Edge at Hell in a Cell, which is fine, except it kind of gives me the idea that the only way for Finn Balor to be considered marketable is if he's in the demon paint. And it seems like they have a difficult time actually marketing Finn Balor as a threat in and of himself, that he has to be the demon in order to be marketable. But I think this feud actually calls for it, so I'm okay with it. I like the idea of the demon versus, I guess they call them the devil edge, but it's really supposed to be like the brood edge. I actually like that idea, and this promo was pretty good. I didn't have a problem with this. Cody Rhodes cut a promo, was asked if he was concerned about the position that he's in, saying that I love this position. I live for this position. Solo Sikoa is undefeated, much like myself. He says, Roman Reigns asked the wrong question. Why is it important to face the Enforcer 6 days before WrestleMania? It is not important. It is imperative that I face the Enforcer 6 days before WrestleMania. And people seem to think that this fire built up when I came back, that would do a disservice to everywhere I've been, and to all the people that I met, and all the little coasters that I touched. This fire, it burned long before I left here. Tonight, Solo learns he's not ready. And, okay. They had the match main event, Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes. Fun match, not bad. Cody actually wins via pinfall, which, you know, I thought they'd try to screwball us and it'd be a disqualification or something like that, but they went full pinfall. All right, they had the Usos come out there. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens came out there to nullify the Usos, so they gave us a bit of a brawl. I guess they tried to give Solo some kind of out by saying, you know, maybe he was distracted or whatever the case may be. I don't know. It was okay, I guess. Speaking of which, they did the Bloodline Goodfellas WrestleMania commercial. And you know what? It wasn't bad. It might have been the best of the bunch. Of the ones that I saw, it was actually not bad. I didn't love these WrestleMania commercials as much as the ones for WrestleMania 21. Those were absolutely great. These were just okay. Like The Miz and Maurice was not bad. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins was not bad. I didn't understand the Rhea Ripley one, so I can't really judge that because I never saw that show. But I did get a kick out of the Goodfellas, the Roman Reigns one. It was a good bit. I wish they had recorded it before Sami Zayn left the group, though, because Sami Zayn playing the Ray Liotta part, where, you know, he's trying his best to like, are you serious? Like, are you seriously offended? You know, like that would have been great. Paul Heyman was still very good at it though. But I wish Sammy was part of it. That's all I'm going to say. That's the only knock I really had against it. Is I just wish Sammy was a part of it. That it probably would have had more energy and probably would have been funnier if Sammy was a part of it. Okay, so Paul Heyman also cut a promo here, and it's very interesting because Paul Heyman, after Solo Sikoa was defeated, he was on the phone talking to Roman. It looked like he was, you know, chatting into a handset, like he was in a walkie-talkie or something like that. Like, but earlier in the night, he talked about Cody. Says that Solo was not here to compete. Solo was here to give Cody Rhodes a beating. And that Cody wasn't ready before. He's never been ready. He's not ready to fill Dusty's shoes. He's not ready to be the man in this company. And after he got beat by Solo Sikoa, he's going to have to carry the emotional load that Roman Reigns is going to dump on him on Friday going into WrestleMania. But of course, Cody won the match. So, oof. How about that? Oof. Take that one right on the chin. Also, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens cut a promo. I actually like this. It was a classic old school WWF promo. Just these two guys on the camera. Sami Zayn talked about Los Angeles being the place where they got their big break. And now it goes full circle because now it's the biggest match of their careers. And they're going to wrestle the best tag team in the world. Kevin Owens said that every fight that they've had, whether it's fights together or fights as opponents, has been about moving forward. And now they're going to accomplish the biggest thing that they've ever done together by becoming the tag team champions. Now, what Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are talking about when LA is giving them their big break. They're talking about PWG, which is, you know, the pro wrestling gorilla, which is the wrestling promotion that is the favorite wrestling promotion of Dave Meltzer, because it's right in his backyard. The Young Bucks and all those guys are, you know, regulars over yonder. Interesting piece about these two guys talking about Los Angeles being sort of their backyard. After this video of Chris Jericho doing a slow motion match. Yes, a slow motion match where everybody moves in slow motion. It popped up and it was a PWG thing. PWG is also the wrestling promotion where they do like the invisible hand grenade, the where, you know, somebody throws a grenade and everybody falls down. Not a real grenade either, just like you toss a thing and then everybody falls down. It's ridiculous. PWG is for the wrestling is fun crowd. You know, that's what it is. Because wrestling is fun means mocking the wrestling business. That's what it means. You know, you're supposed to talk about how terrible, like, what was that Mountain Dew match at the Royal Rumble was, or the Zombies or whatever. Meanwhile, they're sitting here cheering a slow motion match, people wrestling blow up dolls and all kinds of other shit. It's like everybody, how about people just be honest with themselves? This shit is embarrassing. No matter what it is. No matter if it's Jericho doing it, no matter if it was Undertaker doing it, no matter who's doing it. You know, the idea that, well, if they worked for that crowd, it worked for that crowd. Like, oh, really? That's the excuse. That's the second excuse. The first one is wrestling is supposed to be fun, guys. Have fun, guys. And then the second is, well, it worked for that crowd. That crowd ate it up. They loved it. This is what they do over there. As if any one of those is an excuse to actually mock the business that people work in. Like, people have broken their necks in that ring. People have died in the wrestling ring, and you're mocking it by doing slow motion matches, socially distanced matches, and all other kind of horse shit. You know, like, if you're not going to take the business seriously, why should anybody else? You know, it's that simple. I know PWG doesn't even have a streaming service. They basically just still sell DVDs, but that's not the point. You know, the point is people can still see it. People can still ingest this program and see that you're not taking it seriously. So why should anybody take it seriously? Why shouldn't people criticize it? Anyway, that's where Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn made their bones. On the independents, PWG being the independents. And that's what they were talking about here. So, okie dokie. And it makes sense, you know, so that Los Angeles crowd should be very excited for these guys, if we're being honest. Austin Theory cut a promo in the middle of an empty arena, saying that it's John Cena thinks that he exposed him. But really, John Cena exposed himself. John Cena says, you can't see me. Austin Theory says, you can't see the future. He says there's no difference in between this empty arena or a full arena, because he doesn't do this for the fans. He doesn't do it for anybody who looks up to him. He does it for himself. And that he would have let John Cena go down the hero. Now he's going to make John Cena look up to him. He is going to make John Cena a believer in Austin Theory. And he's going to make the people stop believing in John Cena. Great. I mean, the pandemic level promo here where, you know, the empty arena is very quiet. I think it was very original. You know, like, I know guys have done this before, but they haven't done this in WWE for a while. I think that he probably should have done a more personal promo and not just kind of generic heel promo, which is, I think this was. He maybe should have been sitting in the crowd or something like that and told a story about how, you know, when he was a kid, he used to sit in the crowd and wish that he would, you know, one day be a WWE superstar. And then he could walk dramatically from his seat to the ring, climbing over the barricade, walking up the steps. And, you know, by the time you get in the ring, it says, now I'm here. You know, everybody keeps thinking I should be back there, you know, back where he was sitting before. But I'm not, I don't sit there anymore. I stand here now. And then you talk about that story about how you used to be a super fan of John Cena, but that's when you were a kid. You know, you're not a child anymore. It plays into the promo that Triple H had been telling people, you know, he's not a kid anymore. He says, go with that. Not a child anymore. Not a fan of John Cena. You know, he's here to replace John Cena. He's John Cena's replacement. He's the future, you know. And then, you know, of course, you got to point to the WrestleMania sign and all that kind of stuff. But the promo felt very generic, and it felt like a lot of the stuff that Austin Theory says all the time. It still doesn't measure up to the butchering Cena did of him at, you know, in that one promo segment that they had together, which wasn't even a promo segment as much as it was a lecture, as Austin Theory just kind of stood there as John Cena, you know, dissected him from the rooter to the tutor, as my grandma would say. But it was okay. It was aesthetically fine. I think the acoustics worked for it. But I feel like he should have started these promos probably immediately after he got roasted by John Cena. We should have cut these empty arena promos, you know, talking specifically about John Cena, not so much about, you know, other people and stuff, you know, or even having useless matches against people nobody cares about. Oh boy. Yeah. Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio wins by disqualification. Dominic got on the microphone before Rey came out, called Rey a deadbeat for hitting his own child. Says, what kind of mom sits there and does nothing? Says he wishes Eddie was his real father and wishes Rey didn't exist. And then said that after Sunday or Saturday or whichever one event is going to be, that the Mysterio name will be mine. And I think that that's very interesting language, that the Mysterio name will be mine. Like, I like that. You know, he's going to kick the Mysterios out of their own family and take it for himself. I think Dominic has more heat than anybody in the business. Of any heel in the business. Like, literally. I think people hate Dominic Mysterio more than they hate anybody in the business. It is legitimate hate. It's not ironic. I'm going to boo you because you're good at your job, like MJF, or I'm going to boo you because I really like the babyface, like with Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and all of them. No, this is legit. We don't like Dominic Mysterio. We hate him. He was talking in Spanish and getting booed out of the building. It was great. It was fantastic. And the crazy thing is, Dominic doesn't have to do that much to get heat. Like, he's so over now, he doesn't have to do much of anything to get heat. It's great. So after what happened was, Dominic got involved, got Damian Priest disqualified. Damian Priest and Dominic jumped Rey, and then Legado del Fantasma ran to the ring to help them. So, Legado del Fantasma was still being a water boy for Rey Mysterio. Not quite how I saw his main roster run going, but okay. Hopefully this leads to a turn at some point, and we can move on from this. I don't like this idea of him being the water boy for Rey. They posted a list of names for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, a bunch of nobodies and Lashley. It's awful. Ooh, boy. The Good Brothers are in it. So you already know. You might as well just throw me outside. You know, like Jazzy Jeff. As soon as that match comes on, just throw me off the porch. Shit. God damn. So I'm still going to hold out hope that Lashley is going to win that match, or he's going to get cost that match by somebody he's going to end up fighting at WrestleMania. You know, I really hope, because something tells me he's just going to go in there, he's going to win, and it's going to be completely and totally pointless, and nobody's going to care, because that sucks for him. For it to go, I mean, even if it was, you know, Bray Wyatt, which, you know, other people are saying Wyatt's not going to make it, or Wyatt is ill, or he's got an injury, or he's got a mental health thing. Who knows what the hell's going on with Bray Wyatt? I mean, goddamn, who knows? But ultimately, Lashley is forked because of this thing. And instead of finding him a replacement opponent, they decided to put him in this damn Battle Royal. My only hope is that this Battle Royal is the linchpin for something at WrestleMania. He needs to have a WrestleMania match. It would suck if he doesn't. But the list of names that are in it, I'm not even going to go through the list of names. That's boring. Who cares about any of these people? Once I tell you that the Good Brothers are in it, do you really care? Johnny Gargano is in it. Elias is in it. Rick Boogs is in it. Dexter Lumis is in it, for Christ's sake. This is literally the fat cut off the meat of WrestleMania and scraped into the garbage. And well, technically it's not garbage, just the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. It can mean something. And we've been having this argument, me and my brother, about why they continue to do the Andre, and maybe they should get rid of it because it doesn't mean anything. And as far as I'm concerned, anything can mean something. I hate to put it that way because it's very vague. But all things in wrestling only have meaning in so much as it leads to something afterwards. Okay? The King of the Ring suffered because there was nothing that led to it afterwards. So people was like, okay, you win the King of the Ring, so what? So then they added the title stipulation. But they added the title stipulation, I think, right at the end. Right as the King of the Ring was getting ready to end, did you get a title shot for winning the King of the Ring? I think only one person won the King of the Ring and got a title shot immediately afterwards. Well, two, because Mabel did it in 95, but that was just kind of, we needed an opponent for Diesel. Why not? If you win the King of the Ring, you are the #1 contender, which is what it should be, right? But people say that all the time. People say we need to get rid of the Money in the Bank. It doesn't mean anything. We need to get rid of well, not the Royal Rumble, but people complain about the Royal Rumble endlessly. You just can't get rid of shit. People like having traditions, and I'm telling you, there's something to traditions that have their own unique value. And the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is a tradition that I think is pretty cool. I think it sucks that they're not going to have a women's one, because I think that the women should have one too. Even if it's just for the kickoff show of night 2, it would be fine for them to have a women's battle royal. That being said, though, the fact that the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal hasn't done anything for anybody has been mostly due to the people that they put over in that battle royal. Madcap Moss, him going over did lead to a push, but it was from him being at the bottom of the barrel to him being near the middle of the barrel. Like he's never going to be top shelf alcohol. Baron Corbin has won it, Cesaro. Like it sometimes can be a launch pad from a lower card to the mid card. But then you also got guys like Jey Uso who won it. Jey Uso winning it was pretty cool. Not because, hey, Jey Uso is going to go on to win the world title or anything like that, but he was on a roll, and it was something that he won for himself at a time where he had only been known for tag team wrestling. So that was cool. A guy like Cesaro winning it was a great feel-good moment. Still one of the best another great moment from WrestleMania 30 was Cesaro winning that Battle Royal by picking up the Big Show. That was fucking cool, So, I agree. The Battle Royal isn't the best idea, considering it depends on who wins it and what you do with that person, and they traditionally have not done anything with that push, just like they never really did anything with that King of the Ring and that kind of stuff, and that's the reason why fans kind of grumble at it. But as far as I know, from what I was told, the Battle Royal drew a big rating last year on television, and that's why they decided to do it on TV, and that's why that's what's been done on TV and not been on the kickoff show, is that it actually draws pretty well for SmackDown. So, okay, I'm fine with that. But I want more out of this thing. I don't want people, again, just going to complain. I don't care who wins. Just do something with the fucking winner. Make it make sense. Make these matches matter. And do something with Lashley. Get him out of this match. It's nothing but fucking jobbers in this match. Come on, man. All right. That's it. That's money. Oh, yeah. Gunther defeated Dolph Ziggler. Yep, that happened. Bump machine Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler, I don't understand how he's been bumping so much for so many years. He didn't have like back problems or knee problems. I never hear like Dolph is, injured or anything like that. He just comes out there, bumps his ass off, loses, and goes about his business. He has zero passion for the business. He doesn't really care at all anymore. I feel bad for him a little bit, just a little bit, because I know the guy's incredibly talented, but there's only so much you can take, and nobody has any faith in him anymore. So even if they tried to push Dolph Ziggler, it wouldn't work. Gunther cut a promo afterwards saying that the triple threat match is a disgrace. But the destruction he laid upon Dolph Ziggler is the fate of McIntyre and Sheamus. Okay. I like Gunther. I do like, man, Gunther is something else. He's a special talent. Very special talent. As we go into WrestleMania, I do want to say this one thing. I'm not a big fan of this idea of Kevin Patrick being the voice of WrestleMania. I was hoping he would get replaced by now, but considering that he's still there, I don't like it. I really want this guy gone. It's not that he's terrible or awful or whatever. It's just that he's boring. He's a boring play-by-play guy, you know. He doesn't add any excitement to the product. Even after all this time, he still feels very detached from the product. Look, I know Vic Joseph is perfect for NXT. I would say he's got a personality that fits that product. But it would be nice if we kind of gave Vic Joseph the Raw job. At least let him call WrestleMania. And we could let Kevin Patrick call, I don't know, WrestleMania main event. Or WrestleMania level up or something. I don't know. Do we have to have this goddamn leprechaun on WrestleMania? Do we really have to have this? Because I don't want it. All right. Oh, another thing interesting. I don't think there was any musical act announced for this year for WrestleMania. I don't think they even announced anybody who's going to sing like America the Beautiful, you know. Hopefully they let Samantha sing it. I know she's been practicing. So maybe they'll have her sing it, or maybe they'll have Lillian Garcia sing America the Beautiful. But usually by now they would have announced who was singing America the Beautiful. And if they was going to have some kind of silly musical act, they would have announced that already too. But I could see Triple H getting rid of the musical act, which, you know, not bad. I'm not hating that idea. But so Samantha might sing America the Beautiful, and that might be cool because she's actually pretty good. She's been posting videos of herself singing it at other events. So it might work out. All right. That's it. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time. See you guys later. Peace out.